Really? Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the library. We have a special show for you this evening. I can't wait to get into this. We will have some fascinating stories from Rhode Island. And let's get started with our intro, and we'll get right into the stories. All right. How are we doing this evening, everyone? Just shut that fan off. We don't need that noise. And let's put the camera on. How are you tonight, everyone? Great to see you. Thank you so much for joining me in the library for another wonderful tales, another full group of tales, this time from Rhode Island. And as you could see, my co-host Lenny is in full garb. He's ready for the Screaming Night story. You know, he's a bit theatrical, but he likes wearing his he likes getting ready for these. He even brought his sword with him. So he likes getting ready for these events like this. He's got his knight's garb on. I don't know if you could. There you go. That's a good look, Lenny. All right. So before I get started here, let me say hello to everyone that's come and welcomed me with their presence, given me the gift of their presence. Hello, James Simpson. Hello, Kelly. Hello, Adam. Hello, Patrick. Hello, Delilah. Hello, Tommy Stiggs. Tony the Night Owl. Good to see you. I haven't seen you in a couple of weeks. Good to see you here live. That's awesome. Arlene Merlino. Excellent to see you. Joey Pope in the house. Baywatcher, of course, he was here early, testing the waters. Gerard is here. Great to see you. Who else is here that I missed? Hope I don't think I missed anyone else. I think I hate you all. All right. Well, anyway, if anybody else comes in, I'll stop and say hello to them too. But anyway, let's get started like we normally do by lighting our candles. All right, here we go. Got some new candles here tonight, so the wicks are not out. Let's see how this works. Shut that off. Hopefully what's going on here? Need a little help. There we go. And Lenny is sleeping on the job here. Come on. What are you doing, bud? Come on up here. Get into the thing. Get into the story here. Here we go. All right. Wow, 18 people. That's awesome. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. All right, tonight we're going to the great state of Rhode Island, a New England state, so it's very old, like most of the states on the East Coast. Dave from Boston, good to see you, my friend. Gina, good to see you as well. Brian, good to see you. Awesome. All right, so tonight we have 4 tales that I'm going to go through, and I think you're going to find them interesting. So let's start with the Ghost Children of Tower Hill Road. Now, Tower Hill Road is a very old road in Cumberland, Rhode Island. It was built around 1635. That's pretty darn old, 1635. And throughout the 400 years that it has been there, it has almost 400 years. It has not been developed. It's remained rural for the most part. It's some residential things on it, but for the most part, it's still rural. So it's ripe for unusual things to happen on this road. And the most unusual thing that happens is people consistently see ghost children on this road. Now, let me see if I can show you real quick what the road looks like before I get into the actual story or the actual legend of this road. So let's see if I can share my screen here. All right. This is what Tower Hill Road looks like. And you can see it's a very narrow, at points it's very narrow and very wooded. And this shot taken during the daytime is not very scary, obviously, but you can tell how the trees canopy the road and would make it quite intimidating in the dark. And let's stop sharing that. I actually found online a video of someone driving on the road, which I'll play a little bit of it for you, if I can. Let me see. Let me see. Can I see? Can I play this? Let me play this. Here we go. Let's see if this works. As you can see, it's very dark and very desolate, this road. It's only 2.5 miles long, and it's said to have been, the ground of many Native American tribes had burial grounds on this road, as well as settlements over the years. Prior to white men, for the most part. This is what it looks like. It's pretty creepy, pretty dark, pretty desolate. As you can see, there's some people living on the road because there is garbage cans there. There's a garbage can here, garbage can there. But for the most part, it's just a wooded road. And you can see a cemetery there as well. So let me stop. Okay, so now on this road, the most common sights are these children, the ghosts of children. Now, to me, that's pretty disturbing or pretty scary to see children, the ghosts of children. Ghosts of adults are pretty scary as their own, but the child is so sad and creepy. So the first one is a little boy that rides a tricycle, and it always happens near dusk, not in the pitch black, but it'll be near dusk. He'll appear around the bend, and he'll be riding along on his tricycle, And as cars come around the bend and approach him, they will actually go upside to him, and we'll see him, and he'll disappear around the bend right before their very eyes. As they go around the bend, they'll look to the side and he'll be gone. So, uh, what is the origin of this ghost? I do not know. I could not find anything. Only that they've seen this entity there many times, multiple times. Now, they also on many occasions they've seen a little girl sitting on the side of the road, and passersby will want to stop and help this child. She seems alone. She looks, worried, kind of sitting on the ground playing with something in her hands, looking very sad. People will stop, get out of their cars, and approach this child. And as they approach the child will look up at them and then vanish before their very eyes. And then the final child along this road that is seen is a young boy who's walking his dog. And it is said that he'll be walking along the road with his dog. So we have the spirit of a boy as well as a dog here, as well as his pet. And he'll be walking along, and suddenly he'll veer in front of traffic. He'll veer in front of as you're driving there. He'll veer in front of you. You'll slam on the brakes, and he will vanish. So, kind of dangerous when you think about it. People might cause accidents. Might get into accidents by this ghost coming onto the road. But again, all three of these ghosts are children. They're seen at night and at dusk, not in the darkness, and at dusk. And nobody knows the origin of these children. No one can pinpoint where they come from. If there were no documented deaths that they know of. If there were documented deaths, if there were deaths of children on this road, they happened well before there was any type of documentation. So, three ghosts of children out there haunting Tower Hill Road. Now, also along this road, it is said that on dark nights you can hear drumming, as if Native American Indians drumming, war drums in the distance. And you'll hear it all along the 2.5 miles of the road. Nobody can pinpoint where it comes from. There's no earthly source of it. So quite a creepy sight, or not a sight, a creepy experience to hear those drums in the darkness, especially if you're alone on this road. So that's Tower Hill Road. And that's our shortest story. That's our shortest one. And I just thought it was interesting and creepy how children ghosts are there. So that's the ghost children of Tower Hill Road. Now, on to our next one. Now, our next one goes back to a specific event in history. In 1738. 1738. You're talking big time away there. Long time ago there. All right, now let me start off here with a picture because I want you to see this. Here we go. This is an artist's rendition of the wreck of the Augusta. Now, the Augusta was a ship in 1735 that made sail from Rotterdam, England, to America, bringing immigrants, bringing settlers. And most of these people were German. They had gone to England and then were being transported. They were going to the colonies. Let me get this back into a. And this is a artist's rendition, a painting of what occurred when that ship came close to the Rhode Island. And this is on off the coast of Block Island. If anybody knows about Block Island, it's a few miles out into the water off of the coast of Rhode Island. It's a very popular vacation spot for those that own homes there, summer homes, and people love it there. If you're from New England, a lot of people love that, and they go there. So so this is the Augusta. The Augusta, it sails from 1738. Now, the Augusta was doomed from the very beginning because the water supply that it took with it unbeknownst to the captain and the crew, was tainted. It was something wrong with the water. So almost immediately when they get out to sea, people start getting sick from drinking the water and start dying. Um, in fact, there was what they call people were getting fevers and something called flux. So it's a horrible situation to begin with. People dying, or at least some dying, but at least many being very violently ill. And so the ship is out at sea, and it doesn't have an easy voyage. It hits a lot of water. I mean, a lot of water. Of course, it's in the ocean. A lot of storms that brought a lot of rain, a lot of wind, and it's a rough voyage. Well, when it eventually gets there, it tries several times. It's headed towards Philadelphia, believe it or not, but it veers completely off, and it heads it goes completely north to Rhode Island is where it goes, and as it approaches the shore, the crew, by the time it gets to the shore, most of the passengers had passed away, including the captain. The captain was even died on board. So it's a 240 person ship. I mean, 240 immigrants as well as the crew on this ship, and they come to Sandy Point is where it hits Sandy Point off of Block Island. And this is when it gets weird, because they dock out in the water where they're located out in the sea. They don't come into any port because there's no necessarily a port there at that time, but they dock out in the bay area there, and the crew decides that they're going to hold the passengers hostage. They're not going to let them leave unless the colonists that are already on there are going to pay a ransom. So this has gotten really bizarre. So they're basically pirates on their own ship. They're keeping the passengers, because the captain had died. The first mate had taken over, and he seems to be the leader of this pirate movement of the crew members that were left. Because remember, a bunch of the crew members had died, as well as the passengers. So this negotiation starts to take place between the authorities and the ship. And what happens in the course of this, nobody knows exactly what happened, but and this was over a course of days, but one night the crew and the passengers go to sleep. The passengers are prisoners, but they go to sleep. The next morning they wake up and the crew is gone. It's completely vanished. And at this point, they were virtually starving, because they had no food left, very little food left after the long voyage. The voyage took much longer because of the rough seas. The water was tainted, remember that? So they were living off of rainwater. So there's only about 40 passengers left now at this point. And they wake up and the crew is mysteriously gone. No one knows what happens to the crew. The crew's vanished. So at this point, the authorities row out to the boat and begin to help the people get off the board and get to the shore. And they're able to get about 40 some odd people back onto the ship. But in the course of this, they forget there was one woman by the name of Mary van der Line who was locked up in one of the cabins by the crew. And they completely forgot about her. The people didn't know anything about her. The other people knew nothing about her or forgot about her. It is said that she had been going crazy, being wild, being out of control, and they had locked her up in there to keep her under control. But they abandoned ship, and no one knows what happened to them. So after they get the people off of the ship, the authorities decide to burn the ship, because number one, of the disease that was on the ship, because so many people had died. They were very apprehensive about the disease, whatever was there spreading. And also because they couldn't move the ship without a crew. there weren't experienced sailors there to move the ship, and they thought that this ship would cause an obstruction if it stayed where it was for other ships coming in. So they set fire to it and they burn it. And it burns and burns. And during the course of this woman is in there and burns to death. And it is said that the people on the shore could hear her screaming her last screams as she dies and perishes in this ship along with everything else. Now, the ship, the Augusta ship, was eventually, it had a nickname, Palatine, and that's what the story goes. It's called Palatine, the ghost of Palatine's ship, because the as a result of this, it is said that over the years, people will see the ghost ship all glowing, glowing on the horizon when bad weather is approaching. And this is similar to other stories of ghost ships. It's usually a precursor to bad weather or something bad happening that the ghost ship will appear. But the eerie part of this is that in addition to seeing the ghost ship glowing on the horizon, they can hear Mary van der Lyne's screams echoing over the waves. So chills run up people's spines when they hear this stuff, obviously. And now, whatever happened to that crew is still a mystery to this day. No one knows what happened to the crew. And unfortunately, those people, many of those people who died there, were buried on the shoreline, not far from the shoreline, because they had to get rid of the bodies. They had to bury them quickly. So it is said that on the shoreline there is an eerie feeling of loss by those that have perished on this voyage, and in addition to Mary van der Lyne and her death by fire, so to speak. So that's the phantom burning ghost ship of Palatine. That's off the coast of Block Island, Rhode Island. So very creepy story there. That's based on things that actually happened, actually documented historical events. So that's number 2, our burning ghost ship. All right, now number 3, our number 3 story. Also based in documented history. Well, let me say hello to some folks before I get to the third story. Let me say hello to some folks. Hello, Cranky. Hello, Bobo. Hello, Slim. How are you, buddy? Good to see you. Let me see if I saw anybody else real quick. Delilah said hello. Dylan. Hello, Dylan. Good to see you. Joey Pope is here. Excellent. Wise Guy is here. NJ Wise Guy. Awesome to see you. Paul C is here. Awesome to see you. So great. A bunch of folks are here. I'm so happy all you guys were willing to join me tonight. All right. Now let's go on to the third story. Now this story, like I said, is based in facts, based in actual historical facts. Let's get rid of the ghost ship picture. There we go. And let's move on to another picture. Now, this is the story of the ghost of Mercy Lena Brown, who many believe was a vampire. Now, the background to this story, now, she dies in 1891, I believe, or 1892. But the origins of the Great Vampire Scare, they call it, of New England, go back to the 1700s. And it's said that at that time, specifically in New England, there was this fear of people turning into vampires. And, and coming back and feeding off the dead. And this usually happened when there was a lot of deaths occurring in a village. And usually it was because of an epidemic of tuberculosis. And the effects of tuberculosis, as you may know, make you very gaunt and much looking like a vampire, I guess, looking like a vampire, white, before you die and such. Well, and this was going on for quite a while, but this story is unique because it's so late. It's in 1892. Now, the origin of this is the Brown family. Now, George Brown and his wife Eliza live in this town in Rhode Island, Chestnut Hill. Exeter, I think is the name of the Rhode Island. Um, but anyway, it's a small village at the time, and in 1884, George Brown's wife dies. And she dies from tuberculosis, but at the time they don't know it's tuberculosis. They know that she just dies. 2 years later, his oldest daughter dies. That's 1886. Then in 1891, his oldest son, Edwin, dies. And then in 1892, Mercy dies. So poor George Brown is left here seeing his family die before him, one by one, all from tuberculosis. And at the a desperate man is starting to reach out to the community, and he's listening to people that are very superstitious and coming up with a lot of bizarre things. And one of the things they say is that this could be because one of your family members is a vampire. Now, why George decided that Mercy was a vampire, I don't know, considering these others, because she didn't die. She was the last of his children to die. But and let me show you what she looked like. So you get a good picture, you get a good idea of what I'm talking about here. This is a photo of Mercy Lena Brown, who her father believed was a vampire. Let's get you a full screen on this. She was only 19 at the time when she dies. And the myth at that time was that relatives, like I said, were coming back from the dead and preying on their own family, preying on them as vampires would. And the only way to deal with this was to kill the vampire. Even though she's dead, we're going to kill the vampire, right? Now, how are we going to do that? Well, we're going to exhume her body. We're going to cut her head off. We're going to take out her heart, and something else too. There was something else. Another organ they were going to take out. I think it was her liver. Yeah, something like that, her liver. Yeah, I can't find where I wrote this down. I guess I forgot to write this down with the other. There was definitely two, but the main one is the heart. They cut out the heart, and I think it's the liver too. And they burn the organs. They burn the organs to ash. Then they take that ash and they mix it with water and they make an elixir. And the remaining family members need to drink this, and that will end the vampire strain in the family. And George Brown went along with this and did this because what happened was when they exhumed her grave, and it was about 9 weeks after she died, they exhumed her grave, and everyone was remarkably fascinated by the fact that she had not decayed at all. Now, remember, there was no embalming here done. It was just you put the body in a coffin and you put it in the ground. So that led people to believe she was a vampire because she had not decayed. They figured she looks just like she was when she died. There must be a supernatural evil force going on here. So that's when George agrees to do this. They cut the head off, and then they take out the organs, they burn it, and they make this elixir, and he drinks it. And then they put the remaining part of the body back into the grave and fill it up, and put it up. But the point is that the grave is desecrated at this point. The body was desecrated, the grave was desecrated, and of course, what happens? There is an unhealthy spirit that occurs. Now, let me show you what Mary's grave. You can visit Mary's grave. You can visit Mercy's grave. You can visit Lena Brown's grave, and many people do and leave things there all the time because it's become such a legend. So here's what her. Let me see what her tombstone. Let me show you what her tombstone looks like, if I can. thought I had the tombstone. Here we go. As you can see, it's it's pretty well preserved tombstone from 1892. Let me put it on full screen for you. 19 years old, 1892. Daughter of George Brown, George and Mary Brown. And many people go there and put stuff on the grave all the time. So it's an active grave. You can actually go see it. It's in Chestnut Hill Cemetery. If you want to see the famous vampire, or at least what they thought was, who was a vampire. So now what happens? What happens as a result of this desecration? Well, as a result, basically the entire cemetery seems to be a hotbed for supernatural activity. First, there is strange blue lights that are seen floating around the cemetery after dark. Some have seen Mercy's ghost rising from the grave itself, coming out of the grave and beginning to walk around the cemetery. And they've seen an actual full apparition of Mercy's walking around it. Now, people have also said that if you stand on the grave, they feel a force pulling them off. If you go towards this grave as well as others around there, if you stand on the grave too long, you will feel a force driving you away to get off of the grave itself. And this is something that comes from the grave being desecrated. The spirit wants nobody near the grave. And it's said that many people have, if you go there and you say a prayer for Mercy, you will smell out of nowhere, doesn't matter what time of year, the winter, fall, doesn't matter. You will smell the scent of roses if you say a prayer for Mercy. And then the final thing that Mercy is said to have done, is that her spirit is said to have visited terminally ill individuals who live in the town. And this is recent as well, that terminally ill folks in the town, as they are approaching death, will get a visit from her and will talk to her and will say that they're talking to Mercy Brown, and they feel comfortable that Mercy tells them that the afterlife is there waiting for them, that it's a good transition, all these things, and that she will make sure that their graves are not desecrated. So this poor girl, is still hanging around because her father thought she was a vampire all these years, more than 100 and some odd years later. She is still her poor spirit is still there, but trying to be benevolent, trying to help folks that are dying transition over where she can't. For some reason, she tries to help other spirits transition, other people transition to the spirit world. So that's the story of the ghost of Mercy Lena Brown. All right. And this story has been reported about Mercy in the newspaper many times over the years. All right. Now let's go on to our fourth and final story, which was our headline, our Screaming Knight of Belcourt Castle. So that's why Lenny's dressed like a knight. Right, Lenny? There you go. He's got his knight outfit on. Yeah, all right. There you go. I know you're out of the picture, though. Come on. What are we doing here? Can you lean into the show? Yeah, that's better. All right. Now, Belcourt Castle. Belcourt Castle is located in Newport, Rhode island. Now, let me get you a picture of Belcourt. We definitely want a picture of Belcourt. Here we go. Close out some of these other windows so it's easier for me. All right. This is what Belcourt Castle looks like. And I believe Gina said that she actually visited this place. She had sent me something and said that she visited it. So if she's still here, she can, tell us what her experiences were, if she had any. But it was built by Oliver Hazard Perry Belmont. And it was to originally be called Belmont Castle, but it was changed to Belcourt Castle. And it's 50,000 square feet. It's pretty darn big. And it was based on or modeled after the design of the hunting lodge of King Louis the 13th. It's in a Versailles type of architectural style, the Palace of Versailles in France. So this was based on his hunting lodge at the time. So Belcourt Castle, this is what we're talking about, and many call it the most haunted castle in America. So let's get back to me here. Hold on, let's go. Let's do this. There we go. There you go. There, we'll leave Belcourt up there until we change it because I got some other pictures to show you. All right, so he gives it to his second wife as a wedding gift. And then in 1909, he dies. So this was built in 1891. It took 4 years, 1891 to 1895, to build the whole castle, to finish it. And he gives it to his second wife, who was a Vanderbilt. That's a famous name, famous money name in America, Vanderbilt. And then it passes hands from there. It goes to, and then it eventually ends up in the hands of the Harold and Ruth Tenney. They were the couple that took it over in the early 1900s and stayed with it and inherited it, and they left it to their children, Donald Tenney and Horty and his wife, Horty. But what the Tenneys do is they fill this castle with antiques, which is really the origin of the ghost activity, because there's no ghost that's linked directly to the castle itself, something that happened in the castle. It is said that all the ghost activity is linked to objects that were brought into the castle. So I don't know how you feel about that. I've heard that many times, that ghosts or spirits attach themselves to objects, very old antique objects, and as the objects move, the spirits move with them. And that's what they say happened in Belcourt Castle, because of all the antiques there's several different spirits that are hanging out in this castle. Hey, Crazy Purple, how are you? Good to see you. Haven't seen you in a while. Good to see you. There's a lot of folks here tonight. Thank you so much that haven't been here in a while. So I'm so happy to see you guys. I don't know if I missed anyone. If I do, I really apologize. MPOW, how are you, my friend? All right. All right, so let's go through the various spirits that have been seen or heard in Belcourt Castle. Now, the first one is a white lady. And again, this white lady no one knows the origin of what she is, but she's a white lady that seems to be roaming the grounds outside at night in long white dress, wandering around. No story that goes with her, only people seeing her. So that's just typical. Sometimes there's ghosts where people just don't know the story behind them, and that's this white lady. Now, inside the castle itself, let's start with the haunted chairs. Now, I have a picture of the haunted chairs, which I'm going to show you. And this goes hand in hand with the whole idea of haunted objects. These are the chairs. These chairs go back to the 15th century. So they're very, very old chairs. And what is the activity that goes on around these chairs is the question, right? Hello, Patty Daly. Good to see you. What is the activity? Let's see. The activity around these chairs is that people will sit in them and will get chills running up and down their spines. Many people have said that they've been forcibly rejected from the chairs as they sit in them. Like a force pushes them out as they sit in the chairs. And many feel uneasy just being around the chairs. And then this is the creepiest thing about it, that there was a time in the late 1970s, where there was a tour going on, and the castle is open to tours. So the tour people have been touring this castle for quite a while. In the late 1970s, there was a tour group of 70 people in this. This is in the ballroom, in the ballroom of the castle where the chairs are, and all 70 of them swear that they saw a bolt of lightning shoot out of the chairs, like it wasn't, obviously it wasn't lightning, but it was something that appeared to be lightning, like a flash of light that came out of nowhere from the chairs, emanating from the chairs. So obviously possessed by something, these chairs. Don't know what the origin is, don't know why they're possessed, but obviously items that have spirits attached to them, and they're so active that they're physically interacting with people. So that's number two, I guess. That's number two ghost. Now let's go to the number three ghost, which is our headliner, the Screaming Knight. Now I have a picture of the Screaming Knight for you. And I always think of the Screaming. I always think of like Scooby Doo with the scream. Like that. That's like, sounds like a Scooby Doo mystery. The Screaming Knight of Belcourt Castle. All right, let me present that. Here we go. Where is my knight? Here we go. That's not it. That's not it. That's the chairs. Here we go. All right. Now there's several suits of armor in a castle, of course, right? Where would there be? Why would there? How could it be a castle without suits of armor? So there's suits of armor in it. Here's a picture of the suits of armor. And the guy in the middle here, up on the pedestal, the guy in the middle is said to be the Screaming Knight. It's kind of, his armor kind of has like a gold tint to it. And it's said that this happens only in the month of March, which to me is quite interesting. Only in the month of March that people have heard screaming coming from this, specifically from this suit of armor. Screams coming from, some have said they've seen the knight's face in the helmet of the suit of armor and screaming. Now, why is the knight screaming? That is the question, right? Why is the knight screaming? Well, it turns out the history behind this particular suit of armor was that it was in a battle in the 15th century, and the owner of this suit of armor died in a quite miserable way, in the sense that he took a spear to his eye, through the helmet into his eye, and there's a gash in the helmet which shows you where the spear came in. And it said that because he died such a horrible death, he's attached to this, his spirit is attached to this suit of armor. And it must have occurred in the month of March, because it only happens in March that these screams come from and echo through the halls, and they come, and the origin of these screams is this particular suit of armor. So that's our Screaming Knight of Belcourt Castle. I mean, other people have heard clanking of the armor as well, but the main thing is the screaming. All right, now that's the knight. Now our fourth ghost is the monk. Now it's said that many people have seen a monk in a brown cloak, much like a Franciscan friar monk, a brown cloak, quietly wandering the area wherever this particular statue is. And I'll show you a picture of the statue. The picture of the statue is of a monk. However, it is, it's kind of a small picture, so I hope you can see this. I couldn't find a bigger picture, but let's go with it. Let me see if I put it on full screen. This is a wooden statue of a monk. And it is said that this monk, that an actual monk spirit is attached to this statue, and wherever they pick up this statue and move in the castle, the monk will appear there not long after, and will be wandering around, and he will be seen quietly walking around the area with a Bible in his hand, reading a Bible. And many people, including the owners of the castle, have seen the monk himself, seen the full apparition of the monk wandering about. All right. All right, and then that's the let's see, one, two, three, four. That was our fourth ghost. Now let's go to our fifth and final one. Now, our fifth and final ghost is right out of Snow White, because basically it is a haunted mirror. And this mirror lays in the castle, is displayed in the castle. And if you go and look into this mirror, you will see not only yourself moving, but you will see the background moving of the castle. Things in the background will move around, will be moving around out of this mirror. And nobody can account for how or why this happens. And in fact, some people have even seen spirits in the mirror wandering behind them. You know, they'll see themselves in the mirror, and then behind them, they'll see figures wandering around. Nobody knows the origin of this artifact, other than it's very old. It's over 100 years old, and it seems to have some type of like supernatural power that it maybe it helps you see into another world, or at least at a minimum there's something with this mirror that plays with your senses and makes you believe things are moving around. I don't know. Who knows? So, hey, Gianni, good to see you, my friend. Who's this? A new person coming in. Torak, good to see you. Thank you for coming in. I appreciate that. I once heard of a horrifying ghost by the name of Casper. He appeared to children as a friendly apparition and then skinned them alive. Nice. So anyway, those are the ghosts of Belcourt Castle in Newport, Rhode Island. You can go there. You can take a tour. They actually have ghost tours, I believe, also. So if you go there, you might be able to see something. You might encounter something. But it's a fascinating tales from this particular location. 5 ghost tales from that location itself. All right. All righty. So, Big Bones, how are you, my friend? Good to see you. Now, let me close these out for a second here. I think I said hello to everyone that's here. So I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that it is possible for ghosts and spirits, if you believe in ghosts and spirits, can attach themselves to an article and or an object, and that object gets moved around? So does the spirits. I think anything's possible. I always think anything is possible, but that's kind of creepy, because you think about it. You can go out and buy an antique piece someplace and bring it home and get a surprise because something is there with it. So it's kind of creepy to think about it in that context. And Johnny's saying, it don't surprise me. Rhode Island would be haunted. All of New England is, even if it's not. It looks like it does. Old houses, old part of the U.S. Good stuff. Yep. And Cranky says, sure, why not? Yeah, why not? Big Bone. According to Warrens from Connecticut, it is. Okay. That's Delilah saying, according to the Warrens from Connecticut, it is. Okay. Yes, the Warrens. Right. Oh, thank you, Patrick. I appreciate it. Now, I will. It's 48 minutes into the show. There's one thing I wanted to show you guys and get your opinion on. So if you can hang out a little bit longer, I appreciate it. I want to show you this clip of a video that Mike F sent me, and he said, what do you think about this? Do you think this is a ghost? Do you think this is a ghostly thing, or what is it? Who knows? So let me play this for you real quick, and you tell me what you think, because you'll see in this, it's a picture taking. I mean, it's a video taken of a deer feeding in a backyard, and the channel that it is on is called Backwoods 3030, and this guy, shows videos of animals in his backyard and such, et cetera, and he puts out deer feeding and he films the deer and such. So let me see if I can show this to you, and I want to get your opinion and see, what do you think this is? Do you think this orb, because it's clear as day, the orb, is the orb a spirit, or what is it? Is it a lens thing? I'm not going to tell you what I think until I hear from you guys. You tell me what you think, and let's see. And let's see what it's. See what we get here. All right. Now here's the deer. You can see him feeding. I'm going to play this a little bit, and you'll see up in the corner here. See, here's an orb up in the corner here, right? Let's see it. You can see it starts moving around, right? Moving back and forth. As the deer doesn't react at all, but this orb is up in the corner, and it's bouncing around a little bit here. There, now it's over here. It's now directly over the deer, right? It's a hunt. Yeah, Gianni, it's a hunting channel, but it also shows animals too. All right. Where is it? There it is. Now it's Now it's the middle, right? It's right above the deer in the middle, right there. Right. Now this guy isn't a ghost channel. He's not trying to catch ghosts. He's just filming the deer in his backyard, in his hunting area, in his hunting grounds. And you'll see it. It's bouncing around. You know, it's hovering around, and it's pretty. You're right. It's pretty big. If you consider the size of the deer, that's pretty big of an orb. And it'll stay here, and it'll bounce around a bit. You know, it'll bounce around, on and off. So I don't know. What do you think? Do you think that is a spirit? What do you guys think? Patrick says it's weird. Tony says, isn't it a headlight? Well, this is in the woods, though, right? This is in the woods, and it's dark. This is a trail cam that has no lights on it. You know, it has an a night vision lens to it. Delilah says it's large. Moonlight reflecting off of a thin layer of dew, says Astarak. Gianni says it's a bug. Gina says it might be a lens thing. Well, here's my thought. My thought is that it is something to do with the lens of the camera, because it bounces around. It doesn't. If you notice how it goes, it doesn't bounce around really. It kind of. I mean, it doesn't float. You see, it's like changing spots pretty quickly. To me, it's something on the lens that's causing this. So my conclusion, it's not an orb. It's not an orb that was picked up. It's just a reflection on the camera somehow. But it's a pretty cool experience to see an orb that big like that, and so consistently throughout the film. Yeah, Tony, it is creepy. That's my. I think it's a lens issue. So that's my opinion of this one. I mean, I love to believe in things, but this one I don't buy this one because it looks too much like a, you know, just the way it was moving, the way it was steady, and it was almost as if something is shaking, you know, but the camera's not moving, but it's like as if the camera was moving, but the camera itself is not moving. So perhaps it's something in front of the lens, like a spider web that's moving with the wind, and that's why it's moving like that. So that's my take on it. But I appreciate your feedback, guys, and I want to hear your opinions on that. And that's one thing I want to try to do is we try to look for some of these videos that are out there, and we can talk about them. I want to talk about them and show them here and see what you guys think. You know, I want to show you some of the videos out there of supposedly spirits. Who knows? And then we can make our own determination as to what it is. All right. And Gina says, I do believe in things, but I don't think this is an example, more like a lens related thing. Definitely on the lens. Johnny says it's definitely on the lens. All right. So we're kind of in agreement here, I think. We're all kind of on the same page here with this one. That this is not a spirit orb. I did, Gianni. I did. I sent you an email with it in it, Gianni. I sent you an email with a picture, which I do not have here. Otherwise, I'd show it here. I don't know how I would do that. Because I don't have it here. I don't have it. I downloaded it and I sent it to you via email. Let me see. Here we go. I actually found it, Johnny. If you want, here we go. I'm going to show you guys this. All right. All right, we're ready. Here we go. This is the ghost photo that Gianni mentioned to me, or mentioned in the show last time. Wait a minute. Where the hell is it? Here we go. Here we go. Ready? This is kind of creepy. This photo is worth looking at. This is creepy. All right. What do you think? Now, this was taken in a jail in Gianni's where Gianni lives. Johnny, how do you not check your email, buddy? Come on. This is 2024. How do you not check your email? Anyway, here is the this is the ghost photo, right? This was taken by a gentleman that went into this. They were about to demolish this. They were about to demolish this jail, and before they demolished it, he asked to go in and take some random photographs, and he was photographing the stairwell. Now, this is a split screen photo, right? The left, this is the same thing on both sides. The right side is a picture he took beforehand, and then the left side with the ghost is the same area. It's basically minutes later, in front of the stairwell, same thing, and he has no explanation for it at all. And this was actually reported in the paper, and that's where Gianni mentioned it to me. A hood, right? Yes, exactly, Gianni. Like a hood, a skull. What a hood, right? I mean, this would really creep me out. If I saw this in my photos on a digital camera, it would really creep me out. I mean, that's something else to look at. That's at least something to look at. That's something to really look at and judge. That's not an orb. This says something, you know. Patrick says it looks like death. Yeah. Yep. That is definitely weird, right, Tony? That's very, very weird. That's something out of Harry Potter. Delilah says, yeah. Yep. Patrick said it was death, right? Yeah. Yep. Joey Pope says, looks like a demon because of the hood, because of the bad vibes around it. Yeah, could very well be. Yeah, who the hell knows? Yeah. That to me, what's convincing about this is that these photographs are like minutes apart. Now, where the heck did this come from? This isn't a mist that showed up there. Where did it come from? There's no explanation for it. I mean, if we're believing the photographer was there with other people, with others as well. So it wasn't like he was there by himself. He was there with authorities from the jail or whoever was responsible for the jail before they demolished it that allowed him to go in, and they were with him when this photograph was taken. So. Oh, thank you, Gina. Yep. Yeah, well, and that was on Mike F, and this one's from Gianni. So people are contributing. So please continue to do so. Please, if you want me to highlight anything or talk about anything, let me know. Send me an email. I'm happy to do that. And my invitation is still out there for anyone who wants to tell a story. Come on and do it. We can do that as well. I'm more than happy to do that. Let's make this fun. Let's make this a fun show. So with that, we're almost at an hour, which is perfect. Thank you each and every one of you for joining me. I love it. I love that so many folks came by tonight. We were up to 22 people, I think, at one point. That's awesome. I hope I'm making your life more interesting with these stories. Let me get rid of that. That creepy picture. But as always, I say thank you please hit the like button if you can. I know I don't say that enough because it does help. Or leave a comment after the show, right? Come back and leave a comment after the show, because what Stiggs is learning, and I think I did a test on this a while back ago, and it's true. The more comments you have on a show, the more YouTube presses, sends it out. The algorithm sends it out. So please come back and leave me a comment. If you have something you want me to look about, put it in the comments of this show. If you have something you want me to look at or highlight, I'll search it out, bring it back, and we'll talk about it. But tell me in the comments so that we get the algorithm moving and pushing us out. So anyway, thank you all for joining. As always, I say God bless. I appreciate each and every one of you. Have a wonderful week, and I'll see you next time in the library. So we're going to do our ceremonial blowing out of the candles. Have a great night, everyone.